When it comes to Amazon Prime and Eric Kripke's The Boys, it makes sense that we're expecting the least expected. Just recently, Prime released a new behind-the-scenes look at the third season that made us want to watch the whole thing all over again. So today, we're going to talk about the Season 3 featurette, other related news about the show, and discuss how Season 4's presidential race sets up Homelander's death. Starting off with the behind-the-scenes featurette. The featurette has clips from Season 3 of the actors filming on set and interviews with the cast and crew. Writer and executive producer David Reed says they wanted to show people things they've never seen on TV before in Season 3, and to be honest, things that should not be allowed on TV in the first place. Season 3 premiered with 3 episodes on June 3rd, 2022, and ran for 8 episodes until the season finale on July 8th, 2022. The latest season also brought along with it new characters and ideas to the world of The Boys, with Jensen Ackles' Soldier Boy and Laurie Holden playing the Crimson Countess. Also, some of the boys temporarily took the V24 drug to become supes themselves. The final scene set up a grim afterlook. The boys' days were numbered, and the show's villain, Homelander, realized that he could get away with murder in public and still be praised by his fans. Next up, Season 4 is in production. As of right now, all we know is that 2 new superheroes, Firecracker and Sage, will be part of the next season. Actors Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Rob Benedict, and Elliot Knight have signed on for roles that have not been revealed yet. Also, Cameron Crovetti, who plays Becca and Homelander's son, has been made a series regular for Season 4. And guess what? Hughie's father, Simon Pegg, will also be back. Rosemary DeWitt will play Hughie's mother for the character's first ever appearance on the show, followed by The Boys College spinoff is dropping next year. Good news for The Boys fans. They can watch the premiere of Gen V, the show's first live-action spinoff, in 2023 before Season 4 of The Boys comes out. But this isn't the first spinoff, as The Boys Presents Diabolical, a series of animated shorts, was a spinoff of the show that came out before Gen V. The spinoff will be an in-universe show about the college lives of Vought International superheroes in training, and the school where these young superheroes are taught is called Godolkin University. We know what you're thinking. The name comes from the character John Godolkin from the original comic series, who is a play on the X-Men's Charles Xavier, aka Professor X. Gen V is set to come out in 2023, but neither the show nor Season 4 of The Boys have official release dates yet. What's more, Eric Kripke discusses Season 4 and beyond. In a recent interview, Kripke talked about many different things, including Season 4 and the show's future. When he was asked if fans should expect Ryan to go full Brightburn, he simply threw an "it depends." According to Kripke, if Butcher can get his act together and figure out how to get the kid back, it would be the best thing the boys have against Homelander. But on the other hand, if the kid chooses to stay with Homelander, then that's the end of the world. We can only hope that Butcher gets his act together in the next season. Kripke also talked about Butcher and said that he needs to do so much that he hasn't done yet, and that everything he's tried to do up until this point has gone horribly wrong. It seems like Butcher might finally see the end of his redemption arc. And when he was asked about the possibility of Soldier Boy returning, he said that an old TV saying says that you should not kill someone unless you really have to. We don't know what that means, but according to Kripke, he can't see the show ending without Soldier Boy making another appearance. We think that's more than enough info to hype us up for what's to come. Moving on to Season 4's presidential race setting up Homelander's death. In the last few minutes of Season 3, we saw Bob Singer running for president with Neuman as his running mate, and we think this could be the perfect setup for Homelander to die in Season 4. Let us explain. We saw Homelander almost die when Butcher, Hughie, and Soldier Boy fight with him as a team during the Herogasm showdown, and Soldier Boy, the man who gave him life, then gives him another painful blow when he calls him a disappointment. But even though Season 3's Homelander had a lot of bad luck, he had a big win at the end when he brutally killed an average Joe in broad daylight, and people still treated him like a hero. The Season 3 finale showed that Homelander has once again reached the top of the soup food chain, even though his story has had some ups and downs. And in Season 4, the unwavering support from his fans will probably push him to channel the evil inside him even more, and not stop himself from killing anyone who gets in his way, even though this sudden turn of events makes Homelander look like he can't be stopped, and is already at the top of his power in The Boys. A similar chain of events led to his death in the original comics, but this dramatic climax couldn't have happened without the White House, which suggests that the White House tease in Season 3 could be way more important than we know. Not to mention, Homelander's death will be different on TV. In the comics, Homelander gets more and more crazy as he tries to take over Vought by taking over the White House and killing the president, but he doesn't know that Vought is one step ahead of him and has already chosen Black Noir, his secret clone, to kill him. And in the final battle, Noir gives Homelander Homelander a taste of his own medicine by killing him with no mercy. Even though Season 4's Black Noir is apparently a new character, the boys could copy this storyline. However, it seems less likely because Noir's story has already moved too far off from the comics. But here's where it gets interesting. Ryan is a lot like Homelander, and we think he could be the key to putting an end to Homelander's rule. But his approval of Homelander's bad behavior at the end of The Boys Season 3 shows that he's more likely to follow his father's lead in the next season than to question him or compete with him. Also, Victoria Neuman has shown herself to be a strong force, and while she stays out of sight, she secretly pulls the strings with her strong political background and her underrated ability to blow people's heads off. In the last few minutes of Season 3, she joins forces with Homelander for her own reasons. But once she gets to the top, it won't take her long to plan against him, just like she did with her father, Stan Edgar. Coming up next, Homelander's death would probably mean The Boys ending. Now that almost every member of The Boys is out to kill Homelander, it seems like he will definitely die. But The Boys probably won't kill him until the last season, because almost all of the main plots are about him and how unkillable he is. And unlike Maeve, Starlight, and A-Train, who are morally ambiguous, Homelander is the only clear-cut villain in the Seven, as he drives the main good versus evil storyline by himself. Even the most interesting parts of the Amazon Prime show, like Billy Butcher's painful past and his dislike of Ryan, are all connected to Homelander and his bad deeds. And since Homelander is a pretty important part of The Boys and would be very hard to replace, we think the show would not last too long after his death. That brings us to how much more of the comic story can the show adapt? The Boys comics by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson could be seen as a possible plan for the series and a way to figure out how much more of the story there is to tell. But the show has never been an exact mimic of the comic book it was based on, making it hard to tell from the comics how much more of the story is still to come. We've already seen the show talking about important parts of the story, and it's building up to the inevitable fight between Billy Butcher and Homelander. But even though the end of The Boys is getting closer, the differences between the show and the comic are not a good way to predict what will happen. Lastly, can the show end like the comics? Well, since Ryan chose Homelander instead of Butcher, and Compound V is slowly killing him anyway, there's a lot of room for Butcher to become more like the complete psychopath he is in the comics. In the show, Hughie may not have to stop a genocide yet, but we think Butcher may still go after Starlight since he's made it clear that he's going scorched earth with soup smashing. Also, Ryan can stand in for Black Noir, the crazy guy, and a clone who kills Homelander in the comics. And this might come to life since Ryan seems to be going in an even darker direction than Butcher. It also looks like The Boys is following the President Homelander story arc from the comics, but with a Trump-like twist, which could also irritate Butcher. In fact, we think it seems more and more likely that the series adaptation of The Boys will end with Butcher's death, because he's slowly turning into a villain just like in the comics. This is probably because the series adaptation is getting more and more like the comics, as it's shown in the comics that he made Hughie kill him so that Butcher would not have to answer for his crimes. But even though Butcher is shown in a very different way, this sounds like something he would do in Amazon Prime's The Boys, and this indicates that the two versions of Billy Butcher are more alike than it seems at first. Full circle, huh? And with that, that's all for today's video. What are your thoughts on the behind-the-scenes featurette? And do you think The Boys is gonna end after Homelander's death? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more exciting content in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.